You know what I like to eat when I can't find anything else to eat? But also,
Like one of the few things I can cook.
Like to eat just because I love to eat it.
I haven't had it in a while.
Ramen.
Ramen.
And I don't really ever think of like, okay, what's the easiest ramen ever? Because I mean, I really don't do complicated ramen. I do
We get the top ramen.
the top ramen.
That's like already in the little cake that costs like 4 cents.
Nissan.
Probably costs 10 cents now.
Yeah, or the
Inflation.
Nissan ramen.
How much does it cost now? Is it like $1 now?
So, funny story.
Oh.
4 years ago, circa 2019, you could buy a box of ramen for...
The ones that have like 12 of the little case with like 12 of them?
I think there's more than that in it. There's like a bunch in it. Because they have the little packs that have 6 in them. They're like in a wrap. But like a box. So probably had like maybe 12, 15, something like that.
Yeah.
Not 15, that wouldn't be right. 16. Anyway, you could buy the big box of them for like $5.
Yeah.
Now, the little pack that only has 6 in it is like $3.
Wow. Which is still kind of cheap.
$4.
I mean,
something like that. It's cheap, but it's still less than $1.
For ramen, it's expensive.
It's less than $1 a packet, but
yeah.
Like they started out for like 29 cents a packet, and now they're up to like 79 cents a packet or something like that. So
yeah, that's crazy.
So when I think simple ramen, I think of those. But we're gonna watch Joshua Weissman, and he's gonna tell us about the easiest ramen ever. So maybe this will be a new twist on easy ramen.
There's a ramen place nearby, that Sushi Ramen Go, that our daughter likes to go to.
She does love that.
That's got fancy ramen.
Yes, that's fancy
ramen. I mean, it's still pretty inexpensive, so I'd recommend that place.
Yeah, definitely.
In the area.
If you guys want to sponsor our Friday show,
and then we can
Sushi Ramen and Go.
We can afford to go eat Sushi Ramen Go.
And then we'll come spend our money there. So that would sort of be a self-defeating type of thing. Hey, give us a $10 a week sponsorship, and we'll come buy $10 worth of ramen every week.
I would do it.
Yeah,
I'd buy the sushi. Delicious.
Yes.
But we're not doing sushi. Josh Weissman. Oh, have we done this whole thing?
We've done this whole thing without saying, welcome to Savage Reaction Crew. I'm David.
I'm Angie.
I'm a little bit of everything.
I'm a whole lot of rock and roll.
As long as you're here, make sure you subscribe.
Like.
Share.
Ring the little bell.
Smash that like button like it's a bowl of uncooked ramen. Smash, pound, 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 smash.
Okay. Let's watch.
Okay, take it away, Mr. Weissman.
Mr. Weissman. Chef Weissman.
Chefy, Mr. Chefy.
Ramen is really having its moment in time right
Yes,
now.
it is.
I'm not talking the instant kind. I'm talking
what?
Tonkotsu. I'm talking shoyu. It also happens to be one of the most time-consuming soups in the world to make. At least we thought so. So today we're going to be making 3 of the most iconic ramens as fast and easy as humanly possible, and hopefully we can make them just as good as their longer counterpart. We're going to be doing our best to keep this as traditional as possible. Tonkotsu, we reduce the amount of cook time by 90%. The shoyu ramen is no longer than about 30 minutes, and the miso ramen is even faster. So with all that being said, let's begin. Really quick note, we're on the last leg of my book tour. It's been incredible meeting thousands of you. I'm doing a live Q&A in San Francisco at a new location, by the way. Here are all the places. This is the last chance for the rest of the year for location, by the way. Here are all the...
Oh, not here.
Dang it.
How does it go from California to Texas and doesn't stop in Phoenix?
Yeah, what the heck, Josh?
Josh.
Jeez.
Gosh.
Places. This is the last chance for the rest of the year for us to get together. So if you are in San Francisco, Dallas, Houston, Austin, I will see you there. All of these events are free. If you already have a book, you don't have to get a ticket. Just come and show up. That being said, on to the video.
For children who
Let's
should
talk
be
about
in
one
bed.
thing that's in all of these soups. Obviously, stock.
Stock.
You're gonna see some of these recipes have dashi, which is Japanese sea stock. Oh no, that's not easy. Listen, you got 2 options. You can replace that with chicken stock very easily. But what if I told you could make some incredible dashi in 15 minutes or less? We'll start with that. Even though
I'd
it's
say
not
no way.
I'd say that's 15 minutes too long.
And 2 2-inch squares of fondant. That's
I want food in my face.
You know where I can get chicken stock from? Out of a box. Just
out of
there
a
it is.
container, yes.
Boom. Done.
dried seaweed. Heat that over medium heat just until steamy hot. Let that steep for about 5 minutes, maintaining that steamy heat, but do not let it boil. Then cut off the heat. Add 1 1/4 cup of bonito flakes, also called katsuobushi. Cover with a lid and let that steep for 8 to 10 minutes. 1 1/4 cup of bonito flakes, also called katsuobushi.
What is
Cover
that?
with a lid.
Is it a herb? Is it a mushroom? Is it a animal?
I think it's fish flakes.
Oh, ew.
Maybe.
Weird.
I'm not sure.
Okay, push it.
I have to look it up.
I can't reach the button anymore. Now I'm under a dog pile.
Dog pile.
Lid and let that steep for 8 to 10 minutes. Then strain that and you have dashi. One more thing, easy toppings. These you can mix and match with any of these ramens. Now they will have their own particular toppings, but these apply to all. Obviously ramen noodles. You can do dry straight ramen noodles, cook them according to package directions once your broth of choice is done. Then there's a soft boiled egg, which is quite literally boiled for 6 minutes, ice bath for a minute, peeled, and well, soft center. That's it. After they're peeled, of course you can marinate them, but that's up to you. Of course, thinly sliced green onion on any of these bowls works beautifully. And of course, strips of
That like brown around the egg grosses me out so much. Just because in my mind that's not how it should look. So I have a hard time. I can't eat it because it looks weird to me.
It's just the sauce though that soaks into it.
Weird. It's weird. It's not supposed to be that way.
Okay.
I like his knife.
That's pretty dope.
Pretty neat.
Nori. You know, used as a garnish, but adds a little bit of flavor. Okay, now onto the actual recipes. Let's talk shoyu ramen. That's
shoyu.
A soy sauce-based ramen. Heat a saucepan over medium-high heat. Add just enough oil to the pan to coat. Add 4 thinly sliced shiitake mushrooms. Let those sear. Stir occasionally for 2 to 3 minutes. Then remove. Add the thinly sliced whites from 2 green onions, followed by 2 cloves of garlic, lightly crushed but left whole. 1-inch knob of ginger, grated. Saute till fragrant, about 30 to 45 seconds. Then add 6 cups or roughly 1.5 liters of stock. Now remember what I said earlier. That can either be straight up chicken stock or it can be a 50-50 mix of half chicken stock and half dashi. Do whatever's easiest. The most authentic flavor has the dashi in it though. Add a 1/4 cup or 60 grams of soy sauce. Let that liquid come to a boil, then reduce the heat to low and simmer for 5 to 10 minutes. Now give it a little taste. Season lightly with salt and optionally a touch of shiradashi. That's it. That's your broth. You're done. Literally anywhere from 12 to 15 minutes of work and you have an incredibly flavorful broth. Now, we should maybe make a glazed chicken topping. Heat a large pan over medium-high. In a mixing bowl, combine 2 tablespoons or 30 grams of soy sauce, ideally dark soy sauce, 1 tablespoon or 18 grams of honey, 2 teaspoons or 12 grams of light corn syrup, and 1 clove of garlic, finely chopped. Mix that together, then grab yourself 4 boneless, ideally skin-on chicken thighs. Once your pan is ripping hot, you're gonna place those skin side down and sear for about 3 minutes. Flip.
Do you know why he does boneless? Or, I'm sorry, chicken thighs?
Huh.
Because they're thin and they cook evenly and quicker.
Okay.
Reduce the heat to medium and cook for 4 to 6 more minutes or until the chicken is cooked through. Then at that point, brush with your glaze, flipping occasionally for about 1 minute, and you have beautifully glazed chicken thighs.
Those look really good.
In your bowl of ramen. So let's assemble it. Large bowl. Add your noodles to the bowl, cover with your broth, followed by your seared shiitake mushrooms from earlier, half of a soft-boiled egg or ahitama egg, 1 to 2 sliced chicken thighs, and finish with some thinly sliced green onion and a.
But is he using the broth that's like the fish broth?
It's the broth that could either be fishy, or it can just be chicken stock, or it can be mostly chicken stock with a touch of the dashi.
So here's the thing. Like, I wouldn't want fish stock in with it and then chicken on top.
Surf and turf, baby.
I don't want it all in my mouth at the same time.
Okay, well.
I would, yeah, so I would definitely, for that recipe,
complementary flavors. You would just want the chicken stock.
I would want the chicken stock. That would make more sense to me. Okay.
A light drizzle of toasted sesame oil. Now, if you sear the chicken while the broth is simmering, in around 15 to 18 minutes, you have a beautiful bowl of ramen.
So chicken instead of chashu, super easy to make, it's super fast. You could omit the egg or the mushrooms or both. You could add leftover vegetables to the broth. Give it a little toss. This broth has maternal energy. It nurtures you. The toasted sesame oil, it's rich, it's unctuous, but at the same time, it feels so clean on the palate. I feel good after eating this. And you got the chicken, it's not too fatty, it's not too rich, it's balanced, it's umami due to the maternal qualities and...
I get it. Umami. Josh, do you have mommy issues?
You're silly.
Just kidding. I love you, dude. I'm just kidding. Don't get mad at me, bro.
And the glutamate elements to this. If there's anything that you make from here, at least make this. Now moving on.
Spicy miso ramen. Heat a large pot or rondo over medium-high heat. Add a touch of neutral oil just to coat the bottom of the pan. Once that's hot, add a 1/3 pound or 150 grams of ground pork. Break it up with a wooden spoon and just let that cook for about 4 minutes, stirring often until fully cooked through and you get little crispy bits like this.
I like
Go
the crispy
in
bits.
with 5
That's
thinly
the
sliced
best.
shiitake mushrooms. Yes, again, I like mushrooms in my ramen. What can I say? Season lightly with salt and cook, stirring often until softened and beginning to attain a little bit of color. Then add 3 green green onions, thinly sliced, 1 finely chopped shallot, and a 1-inch knob of ginger grated. Season that lightly with salt again, then saute till fragrant about 1 to 2 minutes. Yeah, give that a little whiff. Then follow that with 1 teaspoon or 4 grams of sugar, 1 teaspoon or 4 grams of toasted sesame oil, half a teaspoon or 2 grams of ground white pepper, 2 teaspoons or 9 grams of doubanjiang. You can find it very easily in Asian markets and again on Amazon. But you could also leave it out. You're just going to be missing the spicy part. 1 tablespoon or 15 grams of mirin. Let that cook for 1 minute, and finally add 1.5 cups or 360 milliliters of dashi and 1 quart or 960 milliliters of chicken stock. No exceptions to the dashi. Well, fine, but it's not going to taste as authentic. Now, add 1 tablespoon or 9 grams of sesame seeds optionally, lightly ground in a mortar and pestle just to make them a little less intrusive. Bring the soup to a boil and cook for 3 to 4 minutes. Then cut off the heat and in a fine mesh strainer, plop in 3.5 tablespoons or 50 grams of, well, miso. I went with red miso. Stirring and whisking aggressively, and you're ready to assemble. All in yet again around 15 to 18 minutes. You have an impeccable broth. Now, again, add your cooked noodles to a bowl. Ladle your broth on top to cover the noodles. Half of a soft-boiled egg or ahitama egg. You're gonna add a couple spoonfuls of fresh raw corn. I know a lot of people are gonna complain, ew, yucky raw corn. Look, it's one less step to not cook it, plus it's gonna cook in the hot broth. Now, follow that with thinly sliced green onion, a little bit of pickled ginger if you want, and finish with a nice generous
I like the corn because it'll give it a crunch. I like that.
Drizzle of chili oil. Now that is a spicy meatball.
Spicy miso ramen. Let me tell you something. One of the few ramens you don't need a tare for. It is the easiest.
I'd want to try it, except for the egg.
Most amount of flavor. So let's dig in.
So you want me to leave the egg out of all of those when I make them?
Yeah, it's weird to me.
They do it in Japan. I'm gonna do it here. This is like one step closer to the richness of tonkotsu without all the effort. You could add more to this, but as it stands alone, for this level of effort, there is not really a better ramen. You're leveraging all that aging process, all the umami developed in a nice miso, and that's what's making this come to life. It's almost a little creamy from the pork fat. I don't think I'd be unhappy giving this at a restaurant, and I would never know that it takes very minimal effort. Now moving on to the hardest, yet the easiest version of the hardest ramen in the game.
Tonkotsu, the alpha and omega of ramen. This is known as one of the longest, most difficult ramens to produce, taking upwards of 12 hours of boiling time alone. Surely I didn't find a way to cut that time down to be 6 times less, right? Well, actually I did, because I love you. To a large pot, add cold water. Then to that, you're gonna add 2.5 pounds or 1.1 kilos of pork hocks, and 2 pounds or 900 grams of pork neck bones. Heat over medium-high, then let that boil for about 5 minutes. Skim any scum that rises to the top of the pot and discard. Then once you're done, dump the bones out into a colander, rinse with cold water. Then place your bones into a pressure cooker or Instapot. Add just enough water to cover, and this is key. Add 2 sheets of gelatin, and carefully on top place 1/2 pound or 227 grams of solid raw pork fat. Place the lid on and pressure cook that on high for 1.5 hours.
Pressure cook that bitch.
I don't really know how to use the buttons. I've used it before.
Oh, the manual button?
I don't know how to use the buttons on the Instapot. I really don't. Like, I've made pot roast in there before at the last house.
You just like start and walk away.
I was just kind of pushing a whole bunch of buttons until it looked like it was doing something, and I didn't read the directions that came with it. There's my secret.
Excellent.
This is why you do the cooking.
I like your secrets. Keep your secrets.
I knew how to work the crock pot, but the Instapot has a lot of buttons.
Tonkotsu is boiled for so long because it needs to be brought to a point where it has maxed out the amount of gelatin pulled out from the bones you're boiling, while simultaneously emulsifying the broth and the pork fat. By using a tiny bit of added gelatin, we're kind of cheating that process while maxing out the flavor using pressure cooking. So once the timer's up, you release the pressure, and you're thinking, oh, it doesn't look emulsified. Josh lied to me. Don't you worry, Papa's got you. You see, it's ready to be emulsified. So carefully using a spider or a skimmer, remove the cooked fat from the broth and add to a blender. Add some of your broth to the blender, being careful to avoid any solids going in. You'll need about 1 quart or 1 liter of broth in there. Blend on high speed until completely smooth, and boom, there's your emulsified broth. Now strain the rest of your unblended broth into a medium-sized pot using a large fine mesh strainer or chinois. Then to your broth, add 1 bunch of green onion, rough chopped, 5 cloves of garlic, lightly bruised, a 1-inch knob of ginger sliced. Add the emulsified broth from your blender. Then I had to switch pots because our...
You know what he means when he says slightly bruised? Of course you do. You watch this stuff.
I watch stuff. I just don't cook it. But why don't you explain to our audience?
So slightly bruised. The easiest way to do that would be if you took a handful of those scallions or onions, whatever, take them and just hit them on the table. That'll slightly bruise them, and the effect of that is to just kind of open them up a little bit. It'll sort of break apart the fibers a little bit, and it'll sort of release that flavor and stuff like that. So, dropping some knowledge.
There you go. All right. Continue.
Our pot was too small. Real nice, Josh. Bring that up to heat over medium-high until it begins to boil. Then reduce the heat to medium and lightly boil for 10 to 20 minutes, depending on how reduced you want it. Now, your broth is done, except do not season your tonkotsu broth because we need to make tare to season it. Now, to a small saucepan, add a 1/4 cup or 60 grams of sake. Bring to a boil for 30 seconds, then cut off the heat. Add 1/2 cup or 120 milliliters of soy sauce, 1/2 cup or 120 milliliters of mirin, and a 1/4 cup or 60 grams of shirodashi. You can buy all these things at Asian markets. Protein on this, you can add whatever you want. You want to add chicken? Fine. You want to add pork loin? Fine. You want to add leftover meat? Fine. We already had some chashu in the fridge, so I sliced it a 1/4 inch thick and torched it until lightly charred and hot. Now, get yourself a bowl. Add your tare into the ramen bowl. Add as much as you want. You may need to add more. Season your tare very lightly with salt. Remember, there's no salt in our broth. The tare and the salt is the seasoning. Ladle your broth into the bowl. Before you add anything else, taste your broth. If it needs more tare or salt, do that now. Add your cooked ramen noodles, followed by your chashu or any cooked protein you use. Thinly sliced green onion, your soft egg, nori for garnish, and finish with a touch of toasted sesame oil on top if desired. That looks like a proper tonkotsu ramen. But with all these modifications, does it really taste like one?
Wow, tonkotsu. I know this is a guide about making things that are easy, and I understand what you're thinking. Oh my God, Josh, how can you call this easy when it literally takes over an hour? Traditional tonkotsu takes over 12 hours, sometimes 14 hours, 16 hours of constant boiling. You're sitting there sweating your ass off. Your whole house smells like pork and a little bit of fart in the background, and it's eating deep into your walls and your skin, your pores, your pillowcases. You got niboshi, and you gotta put that and make the craziest tare and this, that, and the other. It's like an 18, 20-hour process or more. We figured out how to do it in an hour and a half. Hopefully it lives up. Every time I make this, I surprise myself with how good I am. That's right, again. If you have a pressure cooker, you can have tonkotsu that is just as good as you would get at a restaurant. It's emulsified, creamy, it's rich, it's viscous, it makes your lips sticky, it's salty, it's porky. I don't think you can get something this good this quickly without this recipe. And that's what this video is all about, baby. You hopefully learned something. And if you didn't, well, maybe you weren't paying enough attention. At least leave a comment, or at least buy my book, Texture Over Taste. Why doesn't anyone talk about texture? This is the other half of the cooking story that makes.
Didn't I say that earlier when you put the corn in?
Yes, you did. It's like you know some things.
I know something.
She can't cook, but she knows about cooking.
The thing is, it's not that I can't cook. I don't enjoy it. I don't want to cook. I like the eating part of it. I like watching it, and I like eating it. I don't like doing it. Stop. Ow.
Oh, now you went and hurt yourself.
Everyone talks about flavor, but nobody talks about texture, and that's why it's called Texture Over Taste.
I talked about
importantly,
texture.
don't forget to take some time to make a nice ramen. You pick any of these three. Like and subscribe.
He's like, wait a minute.
He must have got some.
Papa's got you.
He must have got some of that
ink from the book cover or something on his.
Or some of the tara, like that soy sauce emulsion.
That's funny.
That Joshua Weissman, everybody, love that.
Oh, that wasn't it. Hang on.
Wow. Josh Weissman, so good. Love watching his videos. You know, if it wasn't a case of wanting to just add variety to Foodie Fridays, I could totally just watch react to Josh Weissman videos every week because he's so clever and he's so knowledgeable and.
But you'd say the same thing about everybody else that you drop in there. You'd watch Uncle Roger every week. You would watch Tribal People Try every week.
I'd watch Guga every week. I would love watching Guga. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
If I could convince you, I would make a second Friday video right now and go do a Guga video because love Guga. But I'm gonna be patient and wait until next week, and I'll drop a Guga video next week. So come on back. But until next time,
y'all come back now.
Y'all come back now. You hear? Until next time. Peace.
Rock on.